I know many of you watch Toon to learn the backstory of Riggy Runky, how he managed to go from being a kid who wanted to be a hero to a serial killing criminal. But today I want to shift our focus to a different character, who we seem to be aware of at this point but don't know much about. Of course, I'm talking about Lucky Luckington. We see his face throughout the pilot episode of the show, but we don't see him until later on. And it's even later that we get a sense of what he's really like rather than the facade he puts on for his fans. We know that Lucky is going to act as one of the major antagonists throughout the show. Well, at least in the first few seasons. After that, we're a bit unsure. Maybe he goes through a redemption arc, or maybe he dies, who knows. But today, I want to talk about something that I believe to be one of his biggest secrets. Something that's wrong. Something that is the reason he acts the way he does. And it connects to the prophecy. And we're going to be talking about all that today. But before we do that, please do subscribe. It's free and you can always unsubscribe later. Subscribing is the best way to support my channel as it allows me to make more videos and helps me reach more milestones. I really want to hit 400k soon and we get closer and closer to that milestone each day. So if you could just check to see that you are subscribed, that would be great. Thank you, and back to the video. Lucky is Toonville's biggest celebrity, starting out as an actor and then branching off into merchandising, I guess? His own public image being utilised for him to make connections and grow his fan base to the entire Tooniverse. As far as his fans are aware, he literally can't do anything wrong. I've suggested before that I believe the mayor of Toonville, L.E. Funt, approached Lucky to rebrand Toonville as the home of Lucky Luckington. We know the crime rate in Toonville is abnormally high, as well as ongoing issues like turf wars makes it clear to residents that this isn't the best place to live. Toonville has one saving grace, and it's the fact that it has Lucky. So they offer him a deal, use his branding to fix the town's reputation in exchange for unrestricted power to do whatever he wants, as well as covering up his less than legal practices. To summarise what we know, I believe Lucky to be a mirror villain of Riggy. He mirrors a lot of Riggy's own personality traits as well as the things Riggy wants in life, to be seen as a hero, to gain fame and fortune, and maybe even be someone his family is proud of. On the surface, Lucky looks like a lovable, wacky celebrity that you can't help but love. However, underneath he's a corrupted business owner, doing some shady deals in the shadows. The thing is, these aren't the only things we know about Lucky. I mean, this is how we get a clear understanding of his character, but there's more that we can understand about him. We just need to look closer. You see, if we're talking about Lucky, you might see a lot of things pop up in Toonville that are similar to real-life brands, except it's Lucky branded instead. And I think one of the biggest examples of this would be Lucky Cola. First popping up in this Dano Draws video of how you could technically copy Coca-Cola's recipe, and throughout the video it keeps switching to Lucky Cola instead of Coca-Cola. What's interesting here is the fact that while other similar brands are shown next to each other, Lucky Cola and Coca-Cola keep getting switched out for the other. So what does this mean? I have a theory that instead of Lucky just making a Toon Turf equivalent, I think he straight up went to our world, took Coca-Cola and then slapped his name over it when he came back. And I think he does this with everything. So that begs the question, is Lucky really from our world? I wanted to bring this up because it kind of makes sense. Lucky is an odd species that isn't similar to anyone else in Toonville. He has managed to gain stardom and fame from using brands that we know are successful in our universe. However, the fact is, Lucky doesn't really fit into our world either. And if he truly was an outlier, wouldn't it make more sense for people to point that out? I mean, people were so quick to jump on the fact that Riggy is a mixture of a monkey and a rabbit that people in Toonville aren't exactly the most tolerant of people who look outside the norm. So in my mind, I don't doubt that Lucky came from the Tooniverse, but I still don't believe we're too far off from the truth. I've been thinking a lot about what Darius said in the first episode.
It's like the whole world is constantly destroying itself, but then patching itself back up again before anyone bloody notices!
Up until this point, everything he said has sounded like crazy ramblings or a funny fourth wall break, but this line just made me start questioning it. Have you ever watched a stop motion film? For those who don't know, it's a type of animation that has people moving around real set pieces one at a time to create the illusion of fluid movement. We can't see the people coming in and changing things, but we know it's happening. Honestly, it's actually really fun to make something in stop motion. The only downside is that it's really time consuming, and also the fact that you need to be very careful. Why? inconsistencies. For example, when props get too damaged, they get remade, and if you don't pay enough attention, you might end up changing something in between shots. Like, for example, a hoodie not having a zipper in one shot and then gaining one in the next. Is it possible that Toon Turf actually acts as a stop-motion production controlled by someone outside their view? If the Tooniverse acts as its own micro-universe within our universe, then it's not hard to believe that things are falling through. Popular brands, movies, shows, etc. It's entirely possible that Lucky just finds things from our world and brings it back to the Tooniverse rebranded. We already know that Lucky has access to our world. We've seen it in the Toon Turf documents, specifically the ones that have been redacted. And I think it links back to the guy we see in the History of Riggy video. Someone creating sets for Toonville, moving around characters, and in this shot, we see him specifically holding Lucky. Is it possible that this is Lucky's connection to the outside world? That this is the person he gets his information from? If we're betting on Lucky being a mirror villain of Riggy, then it kinda makes sense that he makes a connection to the outside world years before Riggy meets Dano. And it's quite comical to think that while Riggy uses his life in Toonville to try and get famous in our world, Lucky uses resources from our world to try and improve his fame in Toonville. But what does this mean for the prophecy? Lucky is connected to the prophecy, but I'm willing to bet that he's not too big of a major factor. Hear me out. Lucky's reaction to when he first saw Riggy was instant recognition, likely because he had the dream that was stated in the Toonville documents. And while we know Riggy has had the dreams about the prophecy, none of them include Lucky, just himself terrorizing people in Toonville. Meaning Riggy is the driving force, not Lucky. I think Lucky is scared of the prophecy. And what does someone with power do when they're scared? Either they try control the situation or run from it. And I think Lucky is doing both. Lucky has managed to use his connection to this prophecy, his knowledge on the world outside his own, and the negotiation with Toonville's government to secure himself fortune and status. Yes, he's an actor, but he's also a businessman, which explains his ties to the Toonville Mafia and his own criminal activity despite not needing to do so. He knows what's going to happen, so he's grasping at power wherever he can get it. And if that doesn't work, it might be his plan to let the prophecy run its course and jump ship the moment the event happens, using his connection to our world to get him out of there. As far as Lucky is concerned, the prophecy needs to run its course so something worse doesn't happen, something that he can't account for. Too bad Riggy is planning to stop the prophecy before it can go ahead, leaving Toonville with a more uncertain future. But hey, maybe Lucky can contact his friend in our world for advice on what to do. After all, a celebrity is nothing without their connections. But what do you guys think? Are we onto something here? Thank you guys so much for watching. These videos are always fun for me to make, so it's great to know that you guys enjoy them as well. Thank you to my members. Once again, your support for this channel is why I can continue to make videos, and I appreciate it so much. But if you can't be a member, that's okay. I'm so thankful to everyone who subscribed. Thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!